Okay, now everything's warmed up. What we need to do is actually do a auto home. So we go to prepare, auto home. And we need to set that Z offset. Let it come down. Okay, now we put a piece of paper under there and we go down to move axis by 0.1 of a millimetre, move Z, and we wind this down to the point where the piece of paper is actually caught underneath the extruder. So in this case it's about 0.6 of a millimetre, maybe 0.65. 0.7 I can't feel it, 0.6 grabs it reasonably well. So what we're now going to do is go into our, back up that way, go into our control menu, go down to motion, and we're going to actually change the Z offset by that 0.6 of a millimetre. I'll actually do that home again a second time. I always like the BL Touch not to hit before it actually starts to actually drop down. There we go. Okay, now we go to our prepare menu, go down to move axis, and we're going to drop that Z axis by 0.1 of a millimetre. And hopefully this time when we get to 0, that's at 0 and it is grabbing the piece of paper. At plus 0.1 it is not touching the paper. So that Z offset is set perfectly. Back earlier I noticed that when I extruded to get the 40 mils, I actually had to extrude a negative number. Now at the time I didn't click to mention that, but what we need to do is actually reverse this extruder. The reason why is the old extruder used to extrude past the left side of the motor. This one is on the right side of the motor, so it's reversed. Very easy to do. We have to work out which extruder is, or which is the extruder in here. I'll just turn the camera a bit. We have to work out which is the extruder in here. So what we'll do is a bit of a test. What we're going to do is actually turn the machine back on. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to heat the machine up again too. Prepare, down to preheat PLA. And select PLA, because what we're going to do is actually pull each one of the wires on the 3 stepper motors, and I know which one it is, but we're going to do it the hard way, and we're going to see what movement we lose. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down to prepare, we're going to go down to move axis by 1 millimetre and X. Now we can see we've got X movement. So I'm going to pull this stepper motor here. Look at that. That's not X. Let's see if we actually have Y. We do have Y. Let's see if we have, surprisingly enough, we have Z. So I've just determined, we still have X, Y and Z, that this motor here, this stepper here, is the extruder. So what we're going to do is we're actually just going to reverse that. Try not to knock the camera off. We're just going to reverse that, all those pins, turn it around the other way, and try and plug it back in. There we go, it's plugged back in. The reason I heated up the extruder, remember, these won't extrude unless they're up to temperature. So now, we're going to go to prepare, down to move axis by 1mm, extruder. .7, 0.9, there we go. So it is now, by going positive, it is actually, you can see the little black mark there, it is actually inserting filament in. Another 10 degrees on the nozzle. So we're actually going to 210. I think it actually works a little bit better at the slightly higher temperature, which is quite surprising. Although every extruder is different, every filament's different. This one seems to work that little bit nicer at similar to what I used to print, 210 degrees. I used to print about 200 to 205. This one seems to like it a little bit warmer. So be it. I'm getting no skip this time.